Hi everybody, welcome. My name's Kate from Pixie Designs, and this is my latest design team project for the Graphics Fairy. I created this journal while I was away from home visiting my daughter in Australia, and so what I had to do was have a little bit of a plan about what I was going to make while I was away, because it was due to be submitted in May for June. So this is my June design team project. I decided I'd make a open spine journal because I thought that would be easier and mean that I didn't need to take as many things, and also I made these covers before I left, so I knew that I was using this digital for the covers. So what I used, and I'll show this up on the screen, is the Garden Club Tour bundle. I used quite a lot out of that bundle. In fact, pretty much everything in here is from that bundle. I used the postage stamps printable. I really liked that, and you'll see that through the journal I've used that as just as little bits of decoration and also as some tabs. I used the washi tape printable. I used the ATC cards printable, and I used the Garden Club Tour pockets, but I didn't necessarily use them as pockets. Also, I already had some printables of postcards from the Roses and Bees bundle, so I have used those in here. And there's also a journaling card that's from the In the Garden ephemera bundle that you'll see. So yes, an open spine journal, really simple, one signature, tied with some sari silk, this lovely pink, which I thought went well with the pink rose on the front of the journal. I've used this avocado dyed crocheted lace and some other vintage sort of fabric to hold the cover together. It's a very loose, sort of relaxed style of journal, but I do like it. You will have to excuse the light because I am filming this away from home and I'm just having to make do. I hope that it will be alright for you to see. So when we open it up, I've made a lace pocket here. And on the inside of the front cover, I've just collaged some very old book page from book from the 1800s. And this is one of the images at the back here from the Garden Club Tour, and a lace pocket. I've created this tag. It's quite a large tag, and I've collaged some of the same paper, and this is one of the little ATC cards, and it's just coffee dyed manila folder on the back. So that slides into that back pocket there. It's quite firm. And this is the image that is from the In the Garden bundle, and I've just backed that onto some avocado dyed paper and some watercolor card stock, so it's nice and firm, and that sits quite nicely in that pocket. Some old 1906 ledger here, and here's one of the little stamps, postage stamps from the postage stamp printable. And this is the washi tape. Now I printed the washi tape onto tracing paper, and then I laid my double-sided tape across the back to make the washi tape. I used the wider one because one of them was too thin. There's lots of different widths of the washi tape, and the one I used was wider than the tape I had. I didn't have a tape that exactly fitted any of the sizes of the washies, so yeah, I've just had to cut the little bit of the edge off, but it doesn't affect it. It doesn't matter at all. So this page is just some heavy drawing paper that I've coffee dyed. This folds open like that, and there's some ledger paper here. Another one of the postage stamp printables, and this also opens up this way. And there's some more of the washi tape down here. This piece of ephemera is something I already had, and I brought it with me because this image on here is from the Roses and Bees collection or bundle, and it's the printable of the postcards. And I had followed along with a tutorial with Heather from Ruby and Pearl, and she'd made journaling cards with these postcards, and I still had some left. And that's just onto coffee dyed index card. Little up tuck there. Some more of the old ledger paper, and again I've strengthened that with the washi tape, and that's what I used the washi tape for, because I forgot my masking tape. So I thought, oh well, that's a good use for the washi tape that I'd made. So some more vintage. This is one of the printables from the Garden Club Tour bundle, and I've used that as a page, and I've backed it with a book page, and actually this is a pocket so that something can be put in there. Piece of music, sheet music with a ruffle that I had hand sewed because I don't have my sewing machine with me. It was interesting just doing all the things I needed to do without some of the equipment that I had, so it was a good challenge. This is one of the frames from the Graphics Fairy, and I've just backed that with some embossed card. It's an index card, and actually I've left it open at the top so a little photo or something can be slid into that. And this is a page that I've printed this beautiful garden gate onto, this avocado dyed paper, and I love how that turned out. Initially this was going to be my center page, but in the end it didn't win that battle. But I love how it printed onto that avocado dyed paper. This is just a book page out of a telephone dress book, but I thought the florals and the roses. This is one of the pages or images from the bundle used as a page, and that again was printed onto some coffee dyed paper. This is some braille paper, and here's a way I've used the postage stamps printable. I've cut them, and that takes a while cutting all these little divots out unless you've got the cool scissors, which I don't. So I spent an evening doing that and I decided I would turn that into a tab because they pretty much match. They're not perfect, but I used some ink to disguise that they don't match perfectly. There's no way if you're cutting them out by hand you're going to get them perfect. Some more avocado dyed paper with a bit of stenciling. The other thing I did with this book, and why it's so fat, and it won't be once because you can take these out, is I was making this tag out of a vintage envelope, and I love it. I've used some of the paper at the background and one of the cards, and that might be one of the cards from one of the pockets printable, and I didn't want to lose the front of the envelope, so I actually turned this into a little notebook. So that's the other side of the envelope, and so you've still got the address on there and the date 1942. I just put some vintage music paper on there, and this opens up. I fussy cut out one of the images from the bundle, some old music paper, and just some of this lace, this avocado dyed lace, which I wanted to use. I love the love hearts on here, and I hope you can see that there's love hearts on there, and that's on the front. And then I just put some old vintage papers that I had. This one's from 1884. It's a New Zealand, some kind of receipt or bill or something. Some French book page. This is an old bank or rent book from the 30s or 40s. Yeah, so just some old pieces of paper through there, and then on the back again the postage stamp, and I strengthened it with the washi tape. So yeah, I used lots of things, and I love how that turned out, but it does bulk up the journal, so it can be taken out. I've just clipped it in. A little tuck spot here with a tag that I made with some sari silk, and then this is one of the little ATCs that I've just fussy cut and used as a little detail on there. It's a lot of stenciling on this one because I did a whole lot of stenciling before I left New Zealand to come to Australia, and I brought it all with me. Another fussy cut flower here just to decorate the back and to take away from how stark white that is. And this is another one of the images from the Garden Club. I love this, and again it was in competition for the centre spread, but I think it looks fine seeing half of the garden there. And I love how this printed out. This has been printed out on matte presentation paper, and that's why the colours are so rich and vivid. This is some of my beautiful paper that I bought from Etsy, and it's Italian book, very old Italian book page, and that's been strengthened again with the washi tape I made. I used just my Word program on my computer to print this lovely lady out on this corner of this lovely pink avocado dyed paper. This is a front cover of some sheet music which I loved, and it wasn't in the journal for ages, but I just have actually glued it to the back of this book page because I really wanted to use it. I didn't want to tear it up, so I've left it as a fold out, but it's just beautiful. Rustle of spring, you know, it's spring and for a lot of the world. And again, another tab here using the postage stamps, and I love how that looks. This is the page that won the centre spread, and that's a beautiful yellow rose from one of my books, and it's been tea stained. And here's the binding here. And the great thing about this journal is it actually could be completely taken apart and revamped or whatever, used in a different way. So it's kind of cool in that way. Tucked in here is another thing that's bulking up the journal, and this is another little notebook I made. I had this piece of avocado dyed paper which I had cut with the Tim Holtz die, and I really wanted to use it. I glued it onto this sort of piece of cardstock here, and then sort of decorated the front, and then thought, I'd quite like to make a little book out of that. Here's another one of the postage stamps, but I've cut all the sort of scalloped edges off it and just turned it into a little tiny card of this beautiful fountain. There's one of my New Zealand checks, and again, this has got mostly vintage and old papers in it. I've strengthened this rent book or insurance book with some washi tape because it had big staple holes in it. And again, some of the music paper, sheet music paper with some lace. Yeah, so this is mostly old. And this is some old book page here. And just in here is another one of those little postcards from the Roses and Bees bundle, and I've just turned that into a little booklet with some avocado dyed music sort of paper on it, so that just clips in there. But that's about it. Oh, and that's from the Garden Club Tour bundle as well. It's a book, like a book cover. Again, on the other, so this is the other side of the piece of paper that I printed the little lady in the green dress on, and on the other side I printed this lovely lady in the pink dress, but I made her a little bit larger. I love how that turned out. And then there's the other half of the garden, the home, the beautiful house. On the side I have put a little decorated paper bag, and this is one of the cards. I think that's one of the pockets that comes in the printables. I'll show you that there, and I've just used it as a card rather than made the pocket. This is just a little tag that I've created using some old book page as the back, and this is one of the little sayings from the ATC cards, and that slips nicely into there. And this is another one of the images from the Roses and Bees that I've just decorated up an old index card out of one of those index boxes. I love the green colour of those. Here's another tag, just using that beautiful paper, the wallpaper from the Garden Club Tour bundle. I just love this paper. What have I backed? Oh, on the back of here is the receipt or the invoice from the Garden Club Tour bundle. In here, oh that's right, I did use another piece of paper that I know is from the Graphics Fairy. It's one of the wallpapers, and I turned it into a little envelope, and I decorated that again with one of the Roses and Bees postcard printables, and that just tucks in there. And that's the rest of the invoice from the Garden Club Tour bundle. I wanted to make a little floating pocket, so this is it here. Again, using the paper, I used just about every scrap that I could have. Another scrap from the bundle, and in there is just a little cute little tag, very simple, with a couple of scraps from the bundle and some stencil music and a little bit of the washi. Love how that turned out. And here's some of the ATC cards, which I have just cut and aged and put throughout the journal to be used or glued down, or I haven't backed them, I've just left them very simple. And there's some more of the washi tape on the inside of that floating pocket. So again, that can be put wherever you choose in the journal. There's the rest of that lovely garden gate, and here is one of the images that I've turned into a wee journaling card and put that beautiful, oh, that paper there feels so lovely. It's just an old book page. Here I've just tipped this page in and it folds down. You could turn that into a pocket. This is some very old paper from a New Zealand Gazette. Again, here's this postage stamps used as a tab. I made a little belly band out of the header of that gorgeous invoice. Here's another little image here of the fountain from the bundle, which again I've backed with that beautiful, just so smooth and lovely, that paper, and a fussy cut of a rose from a book. Here's the back of the journal, and in here I actually did make one of the pockets from the printables and put it in the back here. This is also from the bundle, this beautiful piece here. And in the back I've put all these little ATC cards that can be used as journaling cards or stuck throughout the journal or used elsewhere. I love how that turned out, and I've decorated it with a little bit of a stitch snippet there with some sari silk. So that's the journal. She's a bit floppy and relaxed, and that's kind of the nature of these open spine journals. And again, like I said, they can be totally reworked because you can just undo the sari silk and unthread your papers, and yeah, just change it up however you want it. I'm really pleased with how it turned out, and it was so different from my last one where I just went all out getting all the images I wanted, whereas this one I was very much committed to using one bundle, what I'd printed out, and using that because I didn't have my printer or access to some of my tools and things like that. So it was challenging, but I actually really enjoyed it, and I love how it turned out. I really hope you've enjoyed looking through this journal with me, and I will see you again soon when I make my next project. Bye.